Over the past 4 years, aquaculture across East Africa has continued to grow, creating new opportunities for farmers, businesses, educators, and young professionals. But sustainable growth of an industry requires more than demand alone. It requires knowledge, it requires access to quality inputs, it requires skilled professionals, and requires strong partnerships. That is where Samaki Poa began. Not as a project focused on individual farms, but as an initiative designed to strengthen the foundations of the aquaculture sector across the region.
Our main goal is to act as ecosystem facilitators. East Africa is very interesting. It's a sector very full of potential, and it's justified by market demands and the nutritional needs of our population.
I met with multiple fish farmers here from Homa Bay region, and one of them told me, he said, here we go from the lake to the pond, to the plate, to the stomach when we talk about fish. It was a beautiful example of how the natural conditions with which the lake, the sunshine, the water, the streams, now all come together in the practical production of fish.
When Samaki Poa launched in 2022, the goal was clear: support the development of a stronger, more resilient aquaculture sector by addressing some of the industry's most persistent challenges.
This is the first project in East Africa that really focuses on the combination of digital training, taking practical and usable knowledge to fish farmers, and really developing the human skills part of the aquaculture value chain.
The Samaki Poa interventions are highly relevant because we looked at the challenges that farmers face on a day-to-day basis. Whether it is feed, fingerlings, or access to knowledge, we noticed that to tackle these challenges, you have to go beyond farm level.
What we have learned over the years, that many of the students and future aquaculture entrepreneurs have only had the ability to learn how to do fish farming properly from a book or even YouTube. A lot of that information is dated, outdated, or non-relevant to the situation here on the ground. So together with the Latvis aquaculture team, we came together and said, let's come up with something new, something innovative, something that has not been done before.
Rather than focusing on one part of the value chain, Samaki Poa worked to strengthen the entire ecosystem.
We know very well that there's a huge knowledge gap in the aquaculture sector. Farmers learn by putting feet in the water, holding the fish, rather than have a full classroom setup with books and pens and PowerPoint.
And as part of our Samaki Poa training, we decided to put up a mobile aquaculture training facility completely powered by solar.
Being able to launch this third campus fills me with incredible joy. It's wonderful to see the project growing. It's wonderful to see increased access to technical aquaculture training for people who need it most in the areas where fish are being farmed. When deciding to make the classroom a container, our thinking was threefold. One, sustainability. It's obviously much better for the environment to reuse something which already exists than to start building brick and mortar buildings. Two was portability. It was very easy to get the container here to this slab because it's so portable, and so it allows us to access the most rural of areas. And often the most rural of areas is where fish are being found. And number three is our partnerships. We've got partnerships with individuals who are trainers, individuals who are ex-trainees, and in doing consultations with them, a lot of the feedback we got back said that people wanted somewhere that is on site to train. They want to be practically trained, vocationally trained on a farm.
The result has been stronger connections between producers, suppliers, training institutions, and industry stakeholders. Connections that will continue to support growth long after the program concludes.
Experts from Samaki Poa have helped us understand more about cage fish farming. We knew some knowledge, but we have been given more knowledge.
We've been training them hands-on experience in all forms of aquaculture practices like introduction to cage aquaculture, introduction to pond aquaculture, taking care of their water quality, managing feeds and feeding, and basically farming fish for a business and not just doing it for fun.
We have learned that a success is ultimately determined by knowledge that is advanced, the skills that are nurtured, and an ecosystem of stakeholders working together to solve a common challenge.
Our main lessons learned was mostly about execution and how to approach different communities and different parts of the country with different approaches that were suitable to the needs that they had.
At the coast, we have a vast of fish farmers. Most of them lack the technical know-how of how to undertake these activities. With the ocean, we have a few of them practicing mariculture and very few in the aquaculture sector dealing with fresh water. So with this training, it's more of an advantage to them.
Our learning so far is that training needs to be very geography specific. We've done trainings all over East Africa, and one of the big things that we've learned is that it's very important to train in the local context. To that aim, we've partnered with local trainers who are extremely proficient in the local dialect and ensured that the training that's being delivered here today in particular is tailored to the communication preferences and styles of people here in Kilifi County.
Ukienda dukani unaweza nunua chakula cha samaki, lakini sasa unaona vile tembe papo pia zinakaa ya samaki pia yakavie pile, lakini imetengenezewa samaki.
The key achievement for Samaki Poa was the knowledge sharing and how many people we actually reached and how many people got the knowledge and the guidance on aquaculture that they needed to make their practices better.
You will find the farmers have been facing challenges in regard to quality and affordable fingerlings. They have been collecting also fingerlings from the lakes, but again, you see, once you collect from the lakes, you don't have control. Having this hatchery here, having the farmers coming here for training, it's an opportunity for them to learn. When someone goes to them and train, like the Samaki Poa trainings,
if I hadn't attended today, it will be so difficult. I could be still doing the same mistakes I've been doing, especially on the fingerlings. Me personally, I've not been taking fingerlings from the hatchery. I have just been taking the fingerlings from the lake, and then that is what I've been using. So I've been taking so much time to harvest. Like the last harvest, it took me like 13 months for me to get a fish that I can sell at least 100 bob per piece. So I've learned, and now I know how I can use this knowledge to at least get 2 cycles of harvesting in every year. That will reduce the costs of maintenance and then will improve my profit.
I am most proud of the visible impact we have had on communities, farmers, and students even, when you see how they have changed their practices for the better to create livelihoods for themselves.
It all started in 2019. It was the toughest time in my life following the demise of my husband. When I went back home, I started the small fish pond. It helped me to heal. Looking at the fish swimming, feeding, the way they feed, oh, it was wonderful. I didn't know anything about fish farming. Within 1 month, they all died because I overfed. From the time I met Ratis, there is no mortality rate.
We've been running trainings across East Africa now for the last couple of years. Primarily, we focused on MSME farmers in Kenya. We've been to Kakamega, Homa Bay, Kisumu, Machakos, all around Kenya. We've done some training in Rwanda as well. And this marks our first foray into Uganda.
Samaki Poa yagenda okujja wano nga tufiirirwa keji eziwerako nga 5. Kati Samaki Poa bwe yajja ekyo ekyaloosi kyagwawo.
Ebyokutegeera obungi bwe tusobola okufuna ku keji we tuba tusitookinze n'okutegeera emmere ennungi ebeera etya, byonna twabifuna oluvannyuma lw'okumala okusomesebwa n'aba Samaki Poa.
Luli twasimanga ebidiba nga tubireka awo okireka oba muddo anti ebyennyanja nga tetumanyi. Naye kati twayiga ebisolo ebibirya, twabiyigamu ogwo omusomo kati tufaayo.
One of Samaki Poa's most significant contributions has been making practical aquaculture knowledge accessible to anyone with a desire to learn.
Knowledge is essential for success in aquaculture, especially when it comes to fish biology and farm management. Yet many farmers have limited access to up-to-date and reliable information on tilapia and African catfish production.
Samaki Poa was quite relevant to the industry. We had already seen how knowledge was a big gap in the industry, and howtodoaquaculture.com has really bridged that gap.
Farmers, students, extension officers, and entrepreneurs can access free, practical, and locally relevant training materials.
When we give an assignment, we find it easy. We have the videos over there. As you're answering, you're watching, you're getting everything. You can get the skills and go do them practically.
It gives you the picture whereby you are able to see some of the videos. Later you have some of the questions to attempt. The system also works in a way that is very easy to navigate. It doesn't need much IT literate guys to actually attempt it. You can also download your certificate from there, which is also an amazing aspect in the system.
This thing has really changed how we do the training. We used to struggle a lot before to get these authenticated videos, short videos to do the training. We used to struggle with heavy books when going to class. Now things have been summarized for us. The information that are there are verified and scientifically proven.
I wish to take this opportunity to really appreciate Samaki Poa for the 12 desktops that they donated to RIAT. And I want to just emphasize that they have had a great positive impact to our trainers, to our trainees, and the quality of training in our institution.
Today, the platform has reached learners in more than 35 African countries with over 170 instructional videos and 17 courses available. It continues to support the next generation of aquaculture professionals.
Blue Planet Academy's role was to develop and run the How to Do Aquaculture digital learning platform, making training and knowledge accessible to fish farmers whenever and wherever they need it. One of our biggest achievements was developing 16 courses covering both tilapia and African catfish production. Together, these courses include 111 videos covering topics ranging from production and fish health to sustainability and business development. Combined with the hands-on training delivered through local hubs, the project has provided fish farmers with practical tools to succeed.
Howtodoaquaculture.com reached far and wide. We trained thousands and we spoke to very many in forums and sessions and farm visits. I think it's going to linger in their memories, the knowledge that they gained from this platform.
As a consortium, we have been able to contribute to those things that we saw were holding back the industry 4 years ago. And looking back, hearing from those people that have been trained, how their lives have changed for the better, that is really what I am most proud of.
And that's why we do this. The next generation of farmers, entrepreneurs, want to run aquaculture as a business, be self-sustaining, be financially literate, and take their businesses to the next level.
The foundations are now in place. The opportunity is to build on them.
With this well-oiled machine of Dutch, Kenyan, Ugandan, and Norwegian partners from heaven, you'd say, we're immensely proud of the work we've done. We've reached over 2,000 smallholder farmers with our intensive practical training, DPOTO you'd call it. We've reached over 11,000 users with How to Do Aquaculture, a platform that's now used in over 30 African countries and has evolved into a continental learning system. We've had over 25 interns over the last couple of years at Lattice.
We are building out our campus in South Nyanza. The teaching curriculum is in all the TVETs, and the people we trained are training others and using what we trained in their production. So it's an end, but it's also a continuation.
Over the past 4 years, Samaki Poa has helped strengthen the systems, partnerships, and knowledge that support aquaculture growth across East Africa. Farmers are producing more, businesses are expanding, students are entering the industry, and new opportunities continue to emerge. What has been achieved is not an endpoint, it is a platform for future growth.
Samaki Poa ending is bittersweet. But 4 years ago, we were not where we are today, and the future looks pretty bright if we continue with the same trajectory we started with.
What we see remaining is skills will remain, knowledge will remain, and these institutions will remain. And ideally, success to us will be communities that improve food security and livelihoods through aquaculture.
As the saying goes, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish and he will eat for a lifetime. We can teach people how to farm fish and hopefully make a sustainable business out of it.
It begs the question of what's next. Do we leave it at that point? The obvious answer is no. We want to keep the momentum, we want to scale up, and therefore invite all our partners and everyone interested in aquaculture that it's the right time, let's join hands, let's move this forward. And I would love to end the same way I began, Samaki Poa.